record on this. So first, let me introduce our phenomenal speaker today. So let me pull up your bio because we don't want to mess up the computer and then we all off our screen again. I'm not gonna touch it, Miss Pam. Are y'all ready, ladies? If y'all on live, drop us some fire. Let us know that you're ready for today. This Boss Up Live of Miss Pamela Thomas. So Miss Pamela Thomas is a catalyst, restorative wellness educator, and the visionary behind the Restore online wellness platform. Her passion and gift is in helping purpose-centered people break through their limits. And we have some limits, right? Got to declutter to attain higher levels of health, wealth, and passion in life. And with a rich background, very knowledgeable background as a financial advisor and spiritual guide, she brings decades of experience to her work, offering unique insights into a stewardship of money and the spiritual dimensions of wealth. Her work is meticulously designed to assist visionaries. That's the part I like, that visionaries. So you got to see the vision. And leaders, visionary leaders in overcoming obstacles, re-energizing their purpose, and attracting the resources. That's what this about, y'all. You got to attract those resources that money need.
That's right.
Okay. And needed to create a positive impact in the world. So Miss Pam, that's a lot. They got to connect with you if they want to know the whole Miss Pam. But hey, let's go.
It's such a pleasure to be here with you today, Virginia. We got to know each other maybe about 9 months ago, and we talked about the opportunity to spend some time and do some projects together, and we're finally on top of that part. So I'm really excited to be here with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I know y'all know what a powerhouse this lady is. So I was so excited when she invited me to spend some time with you all, because I have really kind of had an experience in the last couple of years that has transformed my relationship to money. And I think a lot of us struggle with financial issues in our lives. And until we can kind of find the right relationship with money, most of life seems challenging, and the money part of life seems challenging. So, many of us are on a path to personal and professional growth, and we keep bumping into these barriers that it almost seems like they're invisible barriers. You don't even know why. But when it comes to your financial path, you run across these barriers that stop you from making the progress you want in your life. I'm sure it sounds familiar to you. I know I'm a financial advisor by trade, and I have a background in finance education wise, and I still ran up against these barriers. And it's more than mindset, y'all. But we're going to talk about your money mindset today. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to switch my slide. Oh, yeah. Do you have control over the slides?
Let me see. I think it's you.
Okay, so what's up? Do you see a new one that says my story?
No, it say, what is your money mindset?
No, I just switched my slide. So I think you might have control. Oh, gosh. Okay, I'm going to keep rolling. So if the slides catch up to us, it's good. And if not, that's okay. But you already covered part of it. But my adult life has kind of had 3 acts. I just want to tell you a little bit about me so you understand why I might be the right person to talk to you about this. So this moment for me, there's an aspect of which is like a moment that's been 20 years in the making, because the first part of my life and career was in the finance industry. And in the middle, I actually went to seminary. So I had deep spiritual training in the middle part. And now I'm doing this wellness piece. And, my corporate life, which was mostly the finance part, I really never felt, I always have kind of marched to my own beat, and I never really felt like I was able to bring my whole self to work. And so when it became clear to me that what I thought I was doing, I thought when I got into finance that I would be helping people, but the model of the finance industry at the moment is mostly about selling people things they don't always need. And so I really realized that was not something I wanted to do long term. And it really was destroying me emotionally and physically to be on a job that was that high pressure. But I didn't feel like the purpose part was there. And so when I left my career in finance, I was pretty clear that the way that I had been taught to think about money was kind of out of alignment with the truth of what it is, but I wasn't sure why that was. So before we get started, Miss Virginia already told you, but I need you all to get your pen and paper out because we're going to go through a little quiz here, and I want you to write down your answers because we're going to talk about what it all means at the end. And I'm so sorry you don't have my slides, but you can ask me to repeat if you need me to repeat, but there's 8 questions I want to talk to you about. This is going to set us up to think about what your money mindset is and understand how you process the idea of money. So the first question is, when you think about money, what feeling do you most often experience? Just thinking about it. And tell the truth. So answer A is excitement and possibility. B is stress and anxiety. C is neutral or indifferent. And D is fear and worry. Which one of those, A, B, C, or D, do you feel when you think about money? So everybody, I'm going to give you just a minute to put your answer down. Give it some thought. But for most of us, actually, you'll probably get the answer fast because it comes up quick if you're thinking about it. Okay. Have you had enough time? Let's move on to the next question. How do you feel when you receive an unexpected, like bonus or other types of monetary gifts? How do you feel about unexpected money?
That's a good question.
I know. Everybody loves that one. So is it A, grateful and excited to use it? B, nervous about how to manage it? C, you don't think much about it? Or D, you feel guilty for receiving the money or having it? Which one of those, A, B, C, or D? It's grateful, nervous, don't think about it, or guilty.
And y'all can drop your answer in
Please.
the comments.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes. So look, this is actually an amazing exercise. And I love taking people through this because a lot of times we carry our money story and we think we're the only ones experiencing having this experience with money. And it turns out that we all have money issues, if you want to call it that. And every single one of us, doesn't matter. Even the richest people you know have money issues, and we'll talk about that towards the end. 3, what is your first reaction when you face an unexpected expense? Oh, wait a minute, what's happened here? So is your first reaction, you just manage things and keep on moving? The second reaction is panic because you don't know. The third reaction is it doesn't really affect you too much. And last but not least, you just kind of bury your head in the sand because you don't want to know. A, B, C, or D? Question 4, how do you talk with your friends and family about money? Is it an open and positive thing and everybody just feels comfortable? Or do you avoid the conversation? Is B? C is complaining about it. Or D, feeling judged or embarrassed? Open, or A is open and positive, B is avoiding, C is complain, and D is feeling embarrassed or judged. Number 5, we're getting through it. We're halfway now. What is your attitude towards saving money? Do you A, see it as a priority in your life and you think that savings is enjoyable? B is, well, I struggle to save and I'm dipping into my savings all the time. sorry, B is dipping into my savings. C is I don't think about it too often. And D, I can't ever save. It's impossible to save. These are questions that are
I know, and real life stuff too.
it's
That people
real deal.
hate to analyze.
Well, and most of us rarely, we'll talk about it at the end, but most of us very rarely have an interest in going too deep on finances. And we'll talk about why that is. I know you
'Cause I
already
need to
know.
know.
No, you know too. I know you know. Number 6 is when you think about your financial future, how do you feel? Do you feel optimistic? Are you anxious? Part B is anxious. C, again, you don't think about it that much. Or D, pessimistic and worried. How do you think about your financial future? A, optimistic, B, anxious and uncertain. C, I don't think about it that much. Or D, I'm pessimistic and worried. Number 7, we're almost there. Bear with me, it'll be worth it. Number 7 is, how do you react to financial advice or tips? Letter A is, I eagerly apply them to my life. B is, I'm skeptical and I don't really trust advice. C, I forget about it quickly. So again, it doesn't really stick with you. Or D, I feel overwhelmed by it. And last but not least, if you had a financial windfall, like you won the lottery or something like that, what's the first thing you would do? Think about that one. That's a little harder for some of us to think about, but I want you to think about it for a minute.
Gonna buy your grandma and money a house.
Yes, absolutely. Is it A, invest it or save it? B is spend it on something extravagant. Now, I don't think a house is extravagant though. A house is a sound investment. That's an
It could be an
investment.
investment, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a luxury item. C, I wouldn't really know what to do. Or D, I'd worry about how to handle it. I'm gonna give you all just a second, and then we're going to talk about what's happening with all of this.
Or like they say, when the people hit the lottery, they broke within a couple of years, probably because of their lack of investment part.
Well, and the taxes. So well, we don't need to go too deep, but the big thing is people win the lottery and they think they get the money, and it's like 50% goes to taxes, depending on how much you win. Half of it goes to taxes like immediately, and you can't, once somebody's seen you on TV, you can't not pay the taxes.
Right, they coming for you.
That's right. Okay, everyone. Well, I hope you got your answers in. I want you to add up how many of each of the letters. How many A's, how many B's, how many C's, and how many D's you had in your little quiz here. I know it feels a little bit like school, but that's okay. We're done with that part. So let's go to the scoring key. So look, the mostly D's. What we call the mostly D's is kind of a limited mindset. And look, the fact of the matter is there's so many things in our lives that make us think that money and finances are limited, that it wouldn't be unusual. So the folks that got mostly D's, you probably have some significant money blocks from various places. A lot of times, the way we were raised even, and look, I appreciate my family greatly, but my parents, especially my mom, she's monitoring everything, and everything had to be really, we had to think through every expense, and we were writing down all the expenses and stuff. And that's, it's a great practice. And yet sometimes that type of mindset can make us think there's limitations on money, which people have real short-term limitations on money. But the truth is that there's more to money than just what we see in front of us. So taking steps to start to feel less limited about the idea of money can actually lead to greater financial freedom. Because the more that we think money is limited, that's kind of what shows up for us. And I know that sounds like it couldn't possibly be true, but the truth is that there is a mind, body, money connection that can affect your ability to truly be as prosperous as you want to be. If you got mostly C's, so how many of you got C's? So we're calling that mostly C an indifferent mindset. So on the one hand, some people might think that being indifferent about money is a good sign, but actually a lot of times being indifferent about money is actually a protection because you're not comfortable with money. So instead of it being that you're indifferent because your money situation is good, for most folks, when they're truly indifferent about money, it's mostly that they're avoiding dealing with their fear around money. So again, the avoidance piece is really important. So if you're a C, spend some time reflecting on your financial goals and aspirations and make sure that what you are perceiving as being a comfort level with money is not just avoiding dealing with the issues of money. Because money is not a thing that you can just lay to the side. It's actually something that requires your engagement. Now, I know we've heard that the love of money is the root of all evil, which is something that we've heard many
Biblical.
times. But the fact of the matter is, it's the love of, it's not the love of money. Money in and of itself is an energy and a means of exchange. It's not actually good or bad, either one. It is the intention behind the money that starts to set up how money shows up in our lives. Let's go to B. So those of us who are the Bs, and I have to admit, I have a little B in me. We have an anxious mindset around money. So we have a little bit of anxiety around money, and and even if it's just a small amount, that little bit of anxiety can cause us to not make the best financial decisions. So if you are a B, it's beneficial to explore your beliefs and find ways to kind of really focus on a more positive way of interacting and thinking about your money. And finally, letter A is the abundant mindset. So for those of us with the A mindset, you mostly have a very positive and healthy relationship with money. But one of the things that's really important if you already have an abundant mindset is that mindset needs to be nurtured. And even when you are able to nurture it to some extent, there's things in the world that draw us away from that abundant mindset. We hear the news and we hear about the economy, and we're in a recession and all of these things, and it can draw you away from that abundant mindset. So there's an important part of the discipline of engaging with your money and getting your mindset right that we all have to embrace. So let's just go through some of the common money blocks that people face. Well, first of all, let me just say, does anybody have any questions? I should stop for a minute. Anybody have any questions about the A, B, C, D, and what types of questions, comments, concerns?
And if you're watching the replay, you still could participate in this quiz. I mean, you don't want to miss this opportunity of this quiz. And then after you do the quiz and you evaluate if you're A, B, C, D, then you hop on Miss Pam's calendar and then you schedule a talk. But it's important to know where you're at first.
That's right. Thank you. That's exactly right. So look, I want to talk to you also about some common money blocks, because the truth is, even with those of us with the abundant mindset, have some of these money blocks that come from our childhood, our family of origin, those who love us the most. You know, we all have an experience in our childhood that really drastically affects how we experience money, how we believe money, how we believe we deserve money, how we believe money works in the world, all those things. So let's just look at some of the common ones. And one of the things, again, I said this to you before, I like doing this type of talk because people we are taught that we're not supposed to talk about money. And so it's not socially acceptable to talk about money. And so we don't realize that we are one of many people carrying these ideas. This is not unique to you. I promise you, every money block that you think you have, they're not unique to you. That's the thing I've learned in my life, is that it's amazing. We're all carrying these in different ways, of course, but we're all carrying most of these on some level. It's just a matter of how much we're aware of. So let's move through. The first one is that I already said this one. Money is the root of all evil. And again, this type of belief, look, there's a foundation that it arises from. Yes, money can be drastically misused. There is no question about it. But money in and of itself is just a means of exchange. It's the only reason money has any meaning at all is because we as a collective, all of us together, have agreed that it has a value. There was a time when gold was the thing that had the value. There was a time when goats were, and there still is actually, all of those things. The only reason money is not evil. Money is just a means of exchange. So I'm not saying that people don't use money in an evil way. That is not the point. The point is, let's let go of the idea that money is the root. And it's the intention we bring to money that creates problems or creates beautiful things in the world, right? If we bring the right intention to it, we have created, what am I saying? We can have created masterpieces in the world. The second one is, a lot of us grow up with this idea that we don't actually deserve to have abundance in our lives. They struggle with the idea of being worthy. And so when you don't feel that you're worthy of having good things in your life, sometimes you literally block the good things. You don't even, in fact, what happens is we don't even see the good things that are in front of us, which is why, people like Oprah and all these people tell you, have an attitude of gratitude. Just be grateful for what's in your life, because the more gratitude and appreciation of what you do have, that actually translates into your sense of self-worth. Being grateful for the things you do have can actually increase your sense of self-worth. Fear of success. So we human beings are interesting creatures. I know Miss Virginia knows about this part. A lot of us, have an idea of success, but the truth is, if we've seen other people in our lives who have been successful, but then their family fell apart, or they got to be successful and they got sick, there's all sorts of things. It actually can impact our ability to truly believe that success can be a good thing for us. And it takes many forms, but most of the time, this particular issue stems from deep concerns, and they're real concerns, but sometimes they're not the reality. They're real concerns, but they're not the reality of your situation. But a lot of times it's concerns about what will it mean if I have this level of success for my friendships, for my relationships, and where I live, and all sorts of things. And as you step into success, you also step into being visible. And for a lot of people, being visible in a different way is very uncomfortable. So that's another layer of this issue of not being totally open to the abundance that's available to us. The fourth one is equating money with your personal worth. So a lot of people think that the value they bring to the world is the money that they're carrying around. And, you know, those of us who have a spiritual anchor in our lives know that we are of value just because we are. That's what the divine view of things is. We have value because we are. Money is great, but it is not, does not determine your value and worth. Although the appearance in the world may be that that's what it does, it really does not. So, but what happens is if you equate your value with your job and with the money you have in the account, believe it or not, that can actually shift you into a scarcity mindset because you're constantly worried about money. And if you lose money, lose your status and all of that, it sends you into a spiral that actually it starts to block money. Money's got this strange characteristic, and you may notice it in your own life. The harder you chase it, it tends to kind of run from you. And it's so interesting because money kind of, if you're really desperate for money, you will find that it's harder to get the money and get it to stay in your life. And on the other hand, you don't want to be indifferent because indifference can also breed another set of issues. So, you know, in all things in our lives, there's a balance. And this is one of the strange characteristics. People think the harder you push it, the harder you're pressing for money. It may work short term, but in the long run, you have to kind of strike a balance of understanding it, putting money in its right order. There's a divine order of how money fits into our lives, and it is not the purpose of our lives. It is a part of our lives, but it's not the purpose of our lives. So if you equate money and status with your personal worth, it typically ends up creating a problem in the long run. Sometimes in the short run, it looks good, but in the long run, you end up with issues. And again, this is similar. The fear of losing money is, you know, rooted in anxiety around making financial decisions. And look, the truth is the financial services industry has created so many. Finances used to be really simple. I had a goat, or I've got some gold, and we decide how, if you've got gold and this other person has goats, you decide how many goats. And it's not that complicated a thing, but now we have all of these financial instruments, bonds, equities. I can go through the list of all these things that people talk to you about with money. And so the more decisions, you never want to have, your mind gets confused when you have too many different options before you. And this is what's happened in the financial industry. And so anxiety is typically, for most of us, high around making financial decisions because you're worried that you don't have enough information and you'll choose the wrong thing. But money is a thing that actually responds really well to simple things like putting $20 in your savings account every time you get a paycheck. Money, those are the types of things that in the long run make a good money strategy. But we think we have to pick the right stock, Apple or whatever it is, or you know, find the right insurance instrument. There's all these things that we have to make decisions about. So just the mere number of decisions can cause you to have a fear of making the wrong decision. 6 is the scarcity mindset. So some of us are actually raised to believe, and actually the world tells us this too, that there's never enough money. And so, you know, it's dog eat dog, and everybody I have to look out for number one because there's not enough for all of us, and all of that type of behavior, which creates things like hoarding and, you know, a fear of actually stepping out and creating something new in the world, or looking for opportunities to advance because you're just concerned that if you don't stick with what you know, you're going to end up with nothing. Guilt around spending. So a lot of us, and I have to admit, this is me too, grow up with parents who lived through things like the Great Depression, and I'm a little older than maybe some of you are, but through the Great Depression and things like that. And so that was a time of great struggle. And a lot of people who grew up in that generation where there was literally nothing, um, really are very, very, very concerned about every expenditure. And so um, there's a level of guilt around each penny that you spend. And that, while it's, look, it is a definitely a security blanket in a certain sense, because it does give you a sense that you're not going to get yourself in trouble, but it also can limit you in your ability to think bigger. This is a big one for pretty much everyone I know. I honestly, avoiding financial planning. This is, well, you can understand why, with so many decisions to make, why people would just avoid, because it's easier to just not put any energy into something that seems so complicated. But avoiding looking at your finances and making a plan can create lots of issues, as I'm sure you're aware. So it's really important that we get past this idea that if I can't, if it's not simple, I just need to avoid it. And we got to find ways to really dismantle these types of blocks and build a healthier relationship with money. I got so these are the big blocks that most of the people that I talk to experience. Which ones do you all identify with? While I was talking about this, did you pick out some for yourself that you know are part of your daily life?
Right, and we have a couple of people on live, so if you have a question for Miss Pam, even while she's going through her presentation, y'all drop your questions. Or if you're watching a replay, be sure to drop your question, because you don't want to miss this money mindset to help you declutter your finances and break through to your next level of financial stability.
Okay.
Let's go. Drop fire. Y'all getting something out of this? Drop fire. I know y'all, because I'm taking notes in my head. You probably see the top of my head because I'm taking so many notes.
Okay.
I know I'm trying to get to my next level.
Yeah. And look, the truth is, most of us really are trying to find the next level of, and it's not just for all of us. And I know you know this, Virginia. It's not only about the money. Yes, of course, we want the money commensurate with what we're doing and what we're sharing with the world. But it's never only about the money. And so a lot of things get tied up in this. We restrict ourselves from a lot of things that we could be doing and bringing to the world, because we get caught up in this financial. It's a little bit of a whirlwind for most of us. Let me just switch over to the next slide, since we don't have any particular questions. This is the hard one now. I'm gonna take you all through a little exercise here. And I want you to be honest with yourself, because you don't have to tell me, but you need to be honest with yourself. How stressed are you truly about money? And I don't want you to think out of your head. So we're going to do it a little differently. I want you to relax, let your arms relax, let your legs relax. Close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Let's take one more deep breath together. And give a nice big exhale. And I want you to think about your paycheck. And I want you to start at the top of your head. Now, I've opened my eyes, but I want y'all to keep your eyes closed, because you'll notice what's happening in your body more quickly. Start at the top of your head and scan down. And just take it step by step. So if you scan from the top of your head, down the back of your head, and then down the front. Do you feel anything in your eyes, your forehead, your jaw? Maybe you feel something in your neck. I want you to notice what your body's telling you. Where in your body do you feel like something may be slightly different or slightly off or slightly stressed? Tension. Notice where it is in your body. Keep scanning down. Go through your shoulders. A lot of us carry things in our shoulders, stress in our shoulders. Keep scanning down. Make sure you do the front and the back of your body. So scan down through the chest, the front of the chest and the back of the chest. Notice if you feel different or something uncomfortable in your stomach. And keep scanning down through the hip region all the way down to your feet. The feet are our foundation. So you may even feel something in your feet. So I want you to jot down after you finish scanning. I'll give you just a minute more. And when you're finished, I want you to jot down where in your body you felt tension. And on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you didn't feel any stress anywhere or anything different or anything, any tension, all those kind of things. 1 means you're totally not stressed, and 10 being off the chart stressed. You could call it even, it's pretty much 11, but I'll call it 10. So one of the things about taking a moment and checking in with your body is that the body responds. Our body is a sea of chemicals, and I know Virginia knows this. Our body is a sea of chemicals. And when we get stressed, cortisol and adrenaline immediately shoots into our system, the stress chemicals. And when those chemicals, so our body actually gives us, it literally happens instantaneously. So our body gives us the first cues. Our mind spends a lot of time convincing us that we're not feeling the feelings we're feeling. That's what our mind tends to do, and not want us to go deep on what we're feeling. But your body is going to be the first cue. And when you know that you're having a stress response in your body, and stress responses, let me give you a list, because there's a ton of ways this can show up. And it's really important to know it is not just back pain or not just shoulder or neck pain. Stress response in your body can show up as racing thoughts, narrowed attention span, rapid pulse, pounding heart, when you grit your teeth, other types of muscle tension. That's why I asked you to check to see where you feel tension. Restlessness, like you don't, all of a sudden you can't sit still, your jaw. That's why I asked you to scan your face, right? When you start clenching your jaw, tremors, if you start, some people have a shaking knee and all of that. Stomach, look, a lot of the people I work with tell me when I ask them about their income, their belly, they can feel it right in their stomach, the butterflies or whatever that discomfort is. Rapid and shallow breathing. So if you notice your breathing changing, that's a big cue. Increased perspiration. Many of us have that. Your expression can, like this furrow in this thing. And when you start having a serious expression, or you feel your face contracting, that's another one. Numbness can be one. And if you feel like you're gripping at emotions and things, or gripping with your body, all of those are ways that stress show up in our lives. And so I want to invite you, as you start to attempt to sit down and think about your money and spend time looking at your income and expenses and all these things, to pay attention to what's happening in your body, because once that stress response hits, and this is what happens to a lot of us. This is why people with gambling addictions and stuff can't help themselves, because once the stress response hits us, the part of our brain that can make cool, calm, rational decisions shuts down. And you're in fight or flight mode. And when you're in fight or flight mode has a great purpose to keep us safe. And in particular, when we used to be hunter-gatherers, we needed to know that if we knew there was danger, our system would set us up to be able to run fast. But the blood in your body literally goes to the arms and legs so you can move fast, and what needs to be happening for you to have rational thought shuts down. And we are designed for that, and it serves a purpose. But in this, in this modern world, we end up in our stress response for things that aren't actually life-threatening, at least not in the short term, that aren't actually life-threatening. And so we're ending up in the stress response long-term. And having those chemicals, our body's a sea of chemicals, having those chemicals constantly circulating in your system doesn't allow you to have clear thinking. So you mentioned, Virginia, that I actually I'm a wellness professional as well. And part of what I do is help people get out of chronic pain, because when you have those chemicals constantly circulating and you are in stress response all the time, it can create pain in your body, literally create pain over the long haul. So being able to kind of use your body as a tool to diagnose where you are in terms of your stress around money is really important. First step before you make any financial decision, before you decide if you're going to buy the house, check in with your body. Your body will give you the clues to tell you that you may not be in the right mode to make a sound decision. And if you can take a step back. So the next question I wanted to ask you is, how do you de-stress on a regular basis? What tools do you use to keep your stress at bay? Some of us pray and meditate. Some of us exercise, we go running, all of those things. It's a great idea before you sit down to work on your money plan with your family or by yourself, to just do something to de-stress before you get into it. So we're at the end of the time just about, and I wanted to leave some space for questions, but I just want to invite you to start to observe your life and your money, how your body's reacting to paying your bills. How is your body reacting when you get the bill in the mail? How does the body react when you're writing a check? What are the thoughts that go through your head? So this is another part of it. We have tapes that we play in our mind that are rehearsed tapes. They may not even be based in reality, but they're things that just over and over play in our mind. Pay attention to your body. Dropping into your body first actually helps you be able to see the racing thoughts in your mind. That's why I tried to get you to look at the body part first, because often we think our mind is running the show, but our body can be a great tool for clarifying. Our mind runs in all sorts of directions, and the body can be a great tool for kind of bringing us back to our center and getting clearer about what's going on. So make sure that you just, I know it's a habit you have to develop to actually think about what's happening in my body as I, give my child their allowance and all of that. Just take some time as you walk through your day. Bit by bit, you'll start to notice what's happening And whether or not you are in stress response can make all the difference in your ability to make good decisions. Anyhow, thank you so much for letting me be with you. I appreciate you all greatly. Look, I'm available. So if you want to be in touch with me, go ahead and scan. I have a QR code at the back of the screen there with my little tiny logo. Hopefully you can see it. But scan the QR code and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, Pamela J. Thomas. And actually my website is pamelajthomas.com. If you are interested in exploring more deeply about this stress response and that mind, body, money connection, and how if you take the time to explore this, it can actually transform your relationship to money. And it also, when we get our money situation in some sort of order, it's amazing that it ripples into the rest of your life. It's a very powerful tool to kind of create the life you want to live. So Miss Virginia, I don't know if anybody wants to offer, give me some feedback or questions or whatever, but if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
We didn't have specific questions, but we do have some feedback. Janice said
Okay.
she'll catch up on the replay for the first half, I guess, to take that financial assessment.
Oh yeah, great.
And then she was talking about when you were doing the body scan, she was saying that her neck and shoulders were her areas of stress.
Yes, good.
And she can
That's what
relate.
happens.
But my question is, well, I like the part about the body gives the clues. That's the number one key, because a lot of times people will try to tolerate that tension, headaches, all of those body symptoms that they have, and
That's
not
right.
really related to money stressors.
Or other
To,
stressors. That's right. We want to ignore the body. I think a lot of times, because of the culture we live in, this hustle culture. And look, I'm not opposed to hard work, but our body's like, will you please slow down? We have a slight pain in our hip or a slight pain in our back, and the body's like, slow down. And we're like, oh no, I have to keep running. And so we act like our body is a thing that our mind is dragging around, and the body's getting in the way of what we need to be doing. But the mind and body are actually designed to work together.
mm-hmm.
And if the mind is out of order with the way that it's supposed to function with the body, this is why when we get older, we end up in chronic pain and all of these things. This is why I left my high-powered job. High-powered, I don't know if I call it that. I would call it high stress. It was a high stress job for sure. I don't know if it was high-powered. It was definitely high stress. That's why I left my high stress job. It really was destroying me, my physical body, and
Right.
and mentally and emotionally, honestly. And so the mind is out of the way that we live. We have allowed our minds to literally railroad our body.
Mm-hmm.
And now the body, we have all these chronic ailments. That's our body fighting back for some attention.
Right.
And a more balanced approach would allow us to be more purposeful with how we spend our energy, because a lot of times the mind sends us in circles, and it's not even purposeful circles. We're just circling, just busyness. So yeah. Well, I appreciate you. Anything else?
So if you when you can go back into the group, because I don't think that we the slides weren't going through, so they didn't get your QR code and your contact information. So if you could drop that in the group later on
I will
today.
drop the slides in for you all as soon as we get off. I'll drop the slides into the whole group so that y'all can go through and see the questions again, because I really encourage you. So often we don't want to take a close look, but the closer you look at money, the more attention you give money in the constructive sense, not worrying about it, but just saying, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. Things start to shift. It seems really simple, and there's an aspect of which it is. But I want to encourage you to start thinking about some of these things in your life. And I would love to, help you all on another level. If you all have the capacity at the moment to go more deeply, please let me know and I'd be happy to help.
Right. So y'all connect with Miss Pam. Well, I enjoyed the presentation. If nobody else did, Janice said, wow, so now I see what's going on. Who would have never thought of my finances? Great information. Yeah, your finances can clutter. A lot of things clutter your body, clutter your mind. And that's why the Declutter for Peace and Prosperity Challenge, if you didn't register already, register, because it's going to have a lot of special perks up in the challenge those 5 days next week so that you can declutter, because finances is important. And
It's
so I
huge.
appreciate you coming on and sharing that information, because sometimes people just think decluttering is your room and your office space or whatever, but it's your friends, it's your family, it's your contacts, it's your job. Like you decluttered from that job that wasn't bringing you the satisfaction that you needed, and you learn how to declutter your finances.
That's right. That's right. That's it. That's exactly it. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. So, hey, ladies, connect with Miss Pam. Go back and watch the replay. Do the quiz that she gave. You're not gonna find another quiz like that. That's like really simplified enough where you can understand it. Because if you get with another financial guru, they're gonna talk over your head, and you're not gonna know what they're talking about. But Miss Pam is really down to earth. She understands. She connects. She's been there, done that. So y'all need to connect with her. If you can't see, if I don't know how soon you're gonna go and put it into the live, but on her in the group, you can find her information as well if y'all want to connect ASAP. So I enjoyed you. We're gonna have you back, so don't think it's just a one and done. Okay, we're gonna have some more things popping off and going on. So y'all connect with her, y'all connect with me, and y'all connect with that challenge. And see y'all next week. We're continuing our declutter series, and we're gonna have more tips and tools of how to declutter your lifestyle to get to your next level.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Virginia.
Bye-bye. Oh, I don't want to end the meeting. Let me just end the recording.